Hey, so I'm currently in Etna, California. We arrived here a few days ago and stayed overnight, had a great time, hiked out the next day. We made it about 16, 17 miles outside of the road to Etna and turned around because we were told by some other hikers that there was a fire north of us to where we were heading. So our best option at that point was to turn around and go back to Etna because the PCT actually ended up being closed from north of Etna all the way through the Oregon border and up to Ashland, Oregon. So it's about a 110-mile fire closure. This is the first time we've encountered like a live fire on the trail. Like, this is the first one this year that's been ahead of us. So we found out pretty early in the morning. We were able to turn around and head back to Etna, and we got there, yesterday in the afternoon. So we didn't get too close to the fire because it's mostly further north. But yeah, kind of scary. We could see all the smoke. It smells really smoky. It looks really smoky, which is gross. And the fire has been growing really quickly. So we're not really sure what that is gonna do exactly, but we're gonna try and head up to Ashland today and get around it. It does suck because we're gonna miss the California-Oregon border. Like, we're gonna hike over it, and now we're just gonna end up having to drive around it, which is really sad because like we missed the halfway sign when we did our other skip around the Dixie fire. I'm just like, I really want to actually see one of these signs, you know what I mean? But not that big of a deal. I mean, at least we weren't like trapped in the fire. We've heard stories from other people who were like much closer to it when it really blew up really quickly. People who had to hike, like 30, 35 miles in a day just to get somewhere safer, who were like pulled out of the woods by, like fire crews. So we feel pretty lucky that we only had to backtrack like 18 miles, 17 miles or something like that. And we made it to Etna safe and sound. So yeah, now just waiting to see how we're gonna get to Ashland. I think they're organizing some shuttles from Etna to Ashland because there are seriously like 50 hikers here, and I don't think Etna wants them living in the park indefinitely. So we're gonna try and get on a shuttle today and get up to Oregon. So this is gonna be it for Northern California, for all of California. California is over, which is really crazy. But yeah, the next time I see you, it'll be in Oregon. Back on trail. So after we skipped the McKinney fire closure, we went to Ashland, Oregon, and did a couple zeros there. So we are just now getting back on trail in Oregon. Finally, we're no longer in California. I don't have a picture of a sign to show you, but trust me, this is Oregon. So yeah, we should be, we have a few days worth of hiking, and we'll get to Crater Lake National Park before we end up skipping another fire closure further on. So Oregon's going to be a whole patchwork of hike for a few days and then skip forward. But at least half the trail in Oregon is still open. Not all of it's on fire yet. But yeah, we'll hopefully get to Washington sooner than we thought. Hopefully still see some of Oregon that we can, that's not burned. So I'm looking forward to it. Look at these crazy trucks. off-roading. We're coming up on 2,000 miles, which is really exciting. Of course, we haven't actually hiked all 2,000 of those miles. We had to skip the McKinney Fire area. That's the one that we were in when they closed it. So we had to get out of there and go around that one. And then we also just skipped the Wendigo Fire area, which is closed. And we'll have one more to skip in Oregon as well. The Lion's Head Fire from last year is still closed. So even though we're almost to the 2,000 mile mark, we've had to go around some stuff, which is kind of sad, but hopefully we'll be able to come back someday maybe and fill in those gaps. In other news, all my stuff is falling apart, which I guess makes sense. Like, it's been through almost 2,000 miles and like we're coming up on 4 months out here of wear and tear, so it's not the most surprising, but it does make things a little bit trickier. I have a hole in my sun hoodie, which you can see, I think, from my backpack rubbing on it. I also have a small hole in my hip belt, which I got from getting stuck on a tree that I was trying to climb over that had fallen on the trail. My sleeping pad is leaking air, and I think I found the hole in that and I tried to patch it, but it does seem to be leaking still. So either the patch isn't fully on there, or there's another hole that I haven't found yet. But that's really fun because in the middle of the night I wake up and my air mattress is like half full, so I gotta blow it back up again. But the patch does seem to be helping. So, and then you may remember my water bladder started leaking a while back as well, and I did replace that. So I have a new water bladder, so I don't squirt water everywhere every time I'm trying to filter it. So yeah, fun stuff. It's always this like game of basically trying to figure out, like, okay, what can I repair? Like, what can I just fix up and keep using? What needs to be replaced? And what can I just live with, you know? We're only going to be out here for another like month to 6 weeks, which, you know, might be a long time to have a sleeping pad that's leaking air, but for like my sun hoodie or my backpack, like, who really cares? So I'm just trying to do that math and figure out, like, okay, what is broken enough that I need to do something about it, and what can I live with? Hopefully everything else stays mostly intact for the rest of this trip, because there's some stuff that I would really rather not have to replace, just because it's expensive or hard to get. So yeah, my new tent that I got at the beginning of this trail is holding up well. Most of my other stuff is doing great too. So yeah, everything's going well out in Oregon. Check out these cool rocks. We're in the Obsidian Wilderness area, so I can only assume that this is all obsidian. It turns out Oregon is made mostly of volcanoes. Who knew? Today was my very first time packing up my tent in the rain on the PCT. And we're almost 4 months in, which is outrageous. My first time I packed up my tent in the rain on the Appalachian Trail was on day 2. And then almost every day after that. Yeah, I've been really lucky. It's rained a few times on the PCT so far, but almost always at night. So I've been in camp in my tent already, and I haven't had to worry about packing up or setting up in the rain. But today, it's raining, so it's really exciting. A new experience.
We found a pretty toilet and we're hiding in here because it started pouring outside, like actually pouring.
We made it. Mile 2000. There you go. Yeah, really exciting. 2,000 miles is really a really long way, and we finally made it here. So about 650 left to go. Yeah, crazy.